Good evening to all and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. This editorial is all about the Congress Party, revival of the Congress Party. And what is so special about this editorial, there are about 40 words, one editorial, 40 words. This is the first editorial where I have come across 40 words in one editorial. Though it is easy to understand based on the context, it is not easy at the same time, not easy to make out what exactly the writer says because of so many words, one thing, and also many of these words are not the regular words. Some of these words go with effective English. That way, they pose a challenge. How does the editorial start? The blueprint. First, you have to know the meaning of the word blueprint. Blueprint means a complete plan that explains how to do or develop something. Blueprint generally goes with the success plan. A particular organization, a particular company, if it wants to excel in a particular field, there is a term called the blueprint for success. It's a plan basically. And this in this context, the word blueprint goes with the Congress Party. What is the main idea of this editorial? Internal elections will be key to the Congress's revival as an alternative to the BJP. This talks about in the past it was the other way. BJP was tried to be the alternative to the Congress party. Now things have changed. Congress it has to revive to be an alternative to the BJP. So what is the solution? How to do that? The key is internal elections. Internal elections will be key to the Congress's revival as an alternative to the BJP. Obviously, you can make out from this statement the main idea of the editorial is all about how to revive the Congress party and how to be an alternative to the BJP. There is one word here revival. What does it mean? An improvement in the condition, strength, or fortunes of someone or something. Revive something, bring back the old glory. The beleaguered Congress has been trying to find ways to get out of the rut that it has got itself into after a series of electoral debacles in the last decade. As usual, whatever is in red related to vocabulary, whatever is in green related to grammar will be key. This refers to future. Coming to the second sentence, there's a word beleaguered. The beleaguered Congress, what does it mean? To be in a very difficult situation or a problematic situation. Has been trying to find ways. The Congress has been trying to find ways. This is in present perfect continuous. If you wonder what is the use of present perfect continuous, we use it to express an action that begins in the past, comes to the present, and may go into future. Has been trying to find ways to get out of the rut, get out of. This is a phrasal verb, get out of the rut. There's one word rut. What does it mean? A habit or pattern of behavior that has become dull and unproductive but is hard to change. A particular habit or a particular pattern that has become dull and unproductive at the same time hard to change. Though you know it is not something positive, you find it difficult to change. Then in that context we use the word a rut that it has got itself into. This is an important expression. Usually it goes with problems. He has got himself into a problematic situation. The Congress party has got itself into a problematic situation. So how does the sentence go? The entire sentence talks about the problem, the recent debacles of the Congress party. The beleaguered Congress has been trying to find ways to get out of the rut that it has got itself into after a series of electoral debacles in the last decade. If you take the last decade, Congress has got into a rut. It has got itself into the rut, and it finds it difficult to come out of that rut. And one of the reasons why does the sentence talk about the negative aspect or negative dimension after a series of electoral debacles in the last decade, continuously, there's one word you have to understand debacle. Here it is in the plural form, part of speech noun. A sudden and ignominious failure or a fiasco. Fiasco means complete failure. So this talks about if you take the last decade, Congress hasn't done well, and many elections it could not win. Based on that, the sentence talks about based on that. Going to the next one, please excuse me. Many sentences are lengthy, and almost every sentence, you come across three or four new words and effective words. To understand, you have to first know the meanings of the words, only then you can comprehend the sentence. Its inability to project a cohesive, decisive, and vibrant leadership ever since it lost power at the center has certainly played a role in this, but attempts at revitalization have focused more on quickly regaining electoral viability than on addressing serious structural issues. This sentence talks about what are the reasons behind inability to project a cohesive. This particular part goes with parallel expression, cohesive, decisive, and vibrant leadership. Leadership is a noun, and the three words are adjectives. What is parallel expression? When we try to convey ideas, we have to use the same grammatical units. If you use adjectives, all the three should be adjectives. If you use adverbs, all the three should be adverbs. If you use verbs, all the three verbs should be in the same form. Its inability to project a cohesive. Cohesive means what? The act or state of sticking together tightly. Decisive, having or showing the ability to make decisions quickly and effectively. All these qualities go with leadership. Vibrant means full of energy and life. The reasons for the fiasco of the Congress party, its inability to project a cohesive, decisive, and vibrant leadership ever since. This is an important expression. Usually it goes with present perfect and sometimes present perfect continuous tense. Ever since it lost power at the center, has certainly played a role in this lack of leadership qualities. You can put it that way. Leadership qualities like being cohesive, decisive, and vibrant. Its inability to project a cohesive, decisive, and vibrant leadership ever since it lost power at the center has certainly played a role in this. Again, whatever you see in green related to grammar has certainly played a role in this present perfect tense. But attempts at revitalization, another word, revitalization, the action of imbuing something with new life and vitality. Revitalize means bring back the energy, bring back to life. Revitalization of the party in this context. Attempts at revitalization have focused more on quickly regaining electoral viability. Viability, usually I tell the meaning feasibility, a commercial viability. Here, viability, ability to work successfully. So, because of this debacle, obviously they must have thought of a solution. Instead of focusing on structural issues or instead of dealing with structural issues related to the party, they focus more on quickly regaining electoral viability. That means winning seats. But attempts at revitalization have focused more on quickly regaining electoral viability than on addressing serious structural issues. The editorial is all about the Congress party and internal elections and also looking at the structural issues. Now it talks about a particular election strategist, Prashant Kishore, the much sought after election strategist who has successfully advised several parties on how to leverage new media tools, messaging, and promotion of leaders, might not have joined the Congress, but his diagnosis of what ails the party is not without merit. Recently, the Congress party wanted to have his services. There was a meeting with the party's head, and this sentence has been written against that backdrop. Prasant Kishore, the much sought after, an important expression, much in demand, generally desired. Sought after doctor, sought after electrician. sought after election strategist, sought after any professional, sought after player, the much sought after election strategist who has successfully advised several parties on how to leverage use something to maximum advantage, how to leverage new media tools. Messaging and promotion of leaders might not have joined the Congress, might not have joined. An important pattern may have joined, might have joined, might not have joined. This talks about a past possibility which is a guess. But his diagnosis, the term goes with, it's a medical term, the identification of the nature of an illness or other problem by examination of the symptoms. But in this context, what the problems associated with the Congress party, but his diagnosis of what ails the party, another important word, ails, trouble or afflict someone in mind or body. What troubles the party is not without merit, it has got some merit. Beginning all this one sentence, beginning after independence as a flag bearer of secularism, social democracy, scientific temper, planned development, and strategic autonomy on global matters, the party managed to retain its primacy for decades because of the legitimacy of its leadership that played a central role in the freedom movement and who articulated these values clearly during their struggles. A lengthy sentence, but it talks about the historical background of the Congress Party, the leaders, their struggles, and the role played by the Congress Party in achieving independence. And looking at that, it talks about all those aspects, and it says the party has played a central role in the freedom movement. That is very important. During and they enunciated or articulated these values clearly during their struggles, but there are so many words being beginning after independence as a flag bearer, an important word. Flag bearer goes with a person or a party, in this context the Congress party. Beginning after independence as a flag bearer, a leading figure in a cause or movement of secularism. Secular, an important word. Secularism, not connected with religious or spiritual matters. If you take the Constitution of India, the preamble, there's one word. India is a secular country. Secular means, in this context, what does it mean? No official religion, respecting all religions. Beginning after independence, how did the Congress party start? Beginning after independence as a flag bearer of secularism, social different qualities, social democracy, scientific temper. Temper, it goes with everyday English as well as effective English. A person's state of mind seen in terms of their being angry or calm. But scientific temper means scientific attitude, outlook, planned development, and strategic autonomy. Recently, we have got the word strategic related to defense, strategic relating to the gaining of overall or long term military advantage, autonomy being independent, the right or condition of self government. Autonomous means independent. On global matters, the party managed, here the party means the Congress party, the party managed to retain its primacy, managed to retain its primacy. Retain means to continue to have something. Its primacy, an important word. The fact of being preeminent or most important. The Congress party, with all these qualities, the party managed to retain its primacy for decades, for many decades, because of the legitimacy. Another word, legitimacy. What does it mean? In this context, ability to be defended with logic or justification, validity, legitimate claim means something that can be justified, something that can be valid. Legitimacy of its leadership that played a central role in the freedom movement and who articulated, another important word. Articulate means what? Having or showing the ability to speak fluently and coherently, to be able to express your ideas very clearly. The leaders articulated these values clearly during their struggles. So many words in one sentence. Dissension, and again, what are the reasons for the downfall? Dissension within and discontent against the party on the issue of authoritarianism, the emergency, The post-Mandal rise of OBC-based parties and the gradual federalization of India's polity led to its decline. The sentence talks about the reasons for decline of the party. First one, dissension, disagreement that leads to discord within the party and discontent against the party, dissatisfaction with one's circumstances, lack of contentment, no satisfaction against the party on the issue of authoritarianism, the emergency. The first two reasons. The third one, the post Mandal rise of OBC based parties, they became very popular. And the fourth factor, and the gradual federalization of India's polity led to its decline. All these factors led to its decline. Again, we have words like federalization. Generally, when we talk about a particular country, we use two terms. Either it is unitary or it is federal. India is quasi federal, means what? Neither federal nor unitary. To some extent, unitary, to some extent, federal. Federal means states play a role, states have the autonomy. Unitary, the center has a power. But quasi federal, some powers go with the center, some powers go with the states. Federalization, to unite in a federation or federal union of India's polity. This is an important word. Polity means an organized society, a state as a political entity, led to its decline. Decline we have got many a time. Typically of something regarded as good becomes smaller, fewer, or less, decrease. Decline means to go down in standards. Soon it was bested by the rise of the religious right and other factors. Soon it was bested by the rise of the religious right, which managed the politics of caste arithmetic far better in the Hindi heartland and Western India, and thrived because of the strong presence of a cadre based force, besides a decisive leadership articulating its ideology and agenda. All these factors are required for a party to survive at the national level and also consistently. Here, in one sentence, we have again a lot of words. Soon it was bested by passive voice, bested, outwit, or get the better of someone. Another meaning to be surrounded by. Soon it was bested by the rise of the religious right. In this context, it is implied the BJP party, which managed the politics of caste arithmetic far better in the Hindi heartland. Heartland, we have got this word, the central or most important part of a country, area, or field of activity. And Western India, heartland and Western India, and thrived. Thrive means prosper or flourish. Usually it goes with business because of the strong presence of a cadre based force, structurally very strong. Besides a decisive leadership, very strong leadership, articulating its ideology and agenda. All these cadre means a small group of people specially trained for a particular purpose or profession. Party cadre means party workers. Ideology, a system of ideas and ideals, especially one which form the basis of economic or political theory and policy. Ideology of the party, generally we say. And agenda, this goes with meetings, a list of items to be discussed at a formal meeting. Here, the agenda of the party. The lack of, one more reason, the lack of a structured cadre base that could trumpet the Congress's legacy and achievements is a severe weakness. As of now, what is the weakness of the Congress party? The lack of. Lack means the state of being without or not having enough of something. Scarcity, the lack of a structured cadre base that could trumpet. There is one idiomatic expression, blow one's own trumpet, means what? To brag or boast. Here, trumpet means proclaim widely or loudly. The lack of a structured cadre base that could trumpet the Congress's legacy. Legacy, another important word, something that is a part of your history or that remains from an earlier time. And achievements, Congress's legacy and achievements is a severe weakness. But the inability to state ideological positions and values clearly is another disadvantage. Lack of party cadre, that is one problem. Not only that, but the inability to state ideological positions and values clearly is another disadvantage. By seeking to remain a big tent of ideas, the Congress has in the past been numbed into vapid centrism, or taken recourse to opportunistic use of non-secular values, seeing its effect in the rise of the BJP. This sentence talks about the problem or one of the dimensions, the negative aspects or negative dimension that goes with the Congress party. What is it? Inability to state ideological positions and values clearly is another disadvantage. And what is a stand or what is the approach taken by Congress? By seeking to remain a big tent of ideas, the Congress has in the past been numbed. It has been numbed. It means it is in present perfect passive voice. And there's one important word, numb, means what? Deprive of feeling or responsiveness. You don't have the feeling. Imagine someone touches your finger, you don't feel. Then you say, my finger has become numb. When you say numb, the letter B is silent, but numbed, you have to pronounce it slightly into vapid centrism. This is a new word altogether. Lacking flavor, zest, or interest. Centrism, or take recourse, it goes with the verb take. A source of help in a difficult situation. Taken recourse to opportunist use of non secular values, seeing its effect in the rise of the BJP, looking at how the BJP party came into the limelight, how it could get power. Perhaps the Congress party wanted to take a few aspects and they wanted to try out those aspects. One of those, take recourse to opportunist use of non secular values, seeing its impact here now in the rise of the BJP. There's no magic bullet. How does the editorial end? There's no magic bullet for these weaknesses. All these are weaknesses of the Congress party. Editorial says there's no magic bullet for these weaknesses, but it will not hurt to kindle internal democracy to reconstitute the party's leadership at various levels. The main idea of the editorial, elections within the party and focusing on the structural deficiencies or making the party cadre very strong, and there's no magic bullet for these weaknesses, then what are they supposed to do? What is the party supposed to do? But it will not hurt to kindle. There's one word, kindle. One of the meanings, arouse or inspire an emotion or feeling or interest in this context. Hurt, it will not hurt to kindle internal democracy, to reconstitute, another important word, build up again from parts, reconstitute the party's leadership at various levels. They have to, basically, the editorial says, they have to go for internal democracy, one thing, and elections within the party to find out the best leaders. And also at the same time, the party leadership should be very strong, and only then the Congress party can think of success in the future. That's all about this editorial. Oh, we have more. I'm sorry about that. Thoroughgoing elections as a procedure should rev up the party's organization, clarify what it truly stands for, based on its founding principles and how its sympathizers and members articulate them during the electoral process, and also bring about a decisive leadership that will legitimately claim the position based on the results of the elections rather than the familiar legacy. Now, Congress party, obviously, generations down, we all know from Indira Gandhi, then to son, then to the grandchildren, it has been going on, daughter-in-law, now Rahul Gandhi, in a way, not de jure but de facto. It talks about one, looking at the party structure, party cadre, making it very strong, the organization. The other one, a very strong leader. Not this leadership claim should not be based on familiar legacy, but it should be based on election results. A lengthy sentence and a few important words. Thoroughgoing means involving or attending to every detail or aspect of something. Thoroughgoing elections as a procedure should rev up the party's organization. This editorial is all about the party's organization, rev up to become more active, clarify what it truly stands for. Not only that, the party cadre has to clarify what it truly stands for based on its founding principles and how its sympathizers and members articulate them, these founding principles, during the electoral process. That is one aspect. And also bring about a decisive leadership, a very strong leadership that will legitimately claim the position based on the results of the elections rather than familiar legacy. Whoever is going to claim leadership, they have to do it, or the person has to do it on the basis of, it should be legitimate, it should be on the basis of election results, not on the basis of familiar legacy. Here legacy is something that is a part of your history, or that remains from an earlier time. One meaning. Another meaning, it goes with inheriting property. This exercise should enable it to later engage with like-minded political forces. Many parties were formed after splintering from the parent Congress and fails the electorate with better cohesion. This is an exercise. There are two dimensions. One, making the party structurally very strong. The other one, get coming across or getting a very strong leader. This exercise should enable it to later engage with like-minded political forces. Many parties that were formed after splintering from the parent Congress, like-minded, obviously. Here, that were formed, that is in past, after splintering. Splinter we have got recently. Break or cause to break into small, sharp fragments from the parent Congress and face the electorate with better cohesion. Splinter, I have given the meaning, electorate. All the people in a country or area who are entitled to vote in an election. The action, cohesion means the action or fact of forming a united whole. If they do that, then they can think of getting back power. Based on this editorial, a few aspects that go with grammar will be key. Something will be key. This refers to future, but the word, the helping verb will has many functions. In this context, it refers to future. Has been trying to find ways. This is present perfect continuous. What is the use of present perfect continuous? We use it to express actions that begin in the past, come to the present, and may go into future. It has got itself into. Here, it is a subject itself. It is a reflexive or emphatic pronoun. In this context, it is reflexive. It has got itself into. You have to remember the functions of, recollect the functions of, and the rules related to reflexive pronouns as well as emphatic pronouns. They have the same form. It has got itself into trouble. It has got itself into this mess. Typical expressions. Has certainly played a role. This is again in present perfect. Has played a role. For emphasis, has certainly played a role. Soon it was bested by. This is in past passive voice. Bested by something, something bested it. Congress has in the past been numbed. This is in present perfect but passive voice. Something has numbed Congress party, active voice. Congress has in the past. This is a phrase, don't consider. Congress has been numbed. This is in present perfect passive voice. It truly stands for, something truly stands for. Here the subject is third person singular, present tense affirmative, based on the rule. What is the rule? If the subject is third person singular, we should add s or yes to the verb. It truly stands for present tense affirmative form. That will legitimately claim. This again refers to future. That were found. Certain things were formed that were formed. This isn't past. These are the aspects that go with grammar. That's all from this editorial. A very useful editorial in the sense it has about 40 words. For the first time, I have come across an editorial with 40 words, and all these words go with effective English. Please spend time on important words, new words, and try to consolidate by making your own examples, revising regularly, and try to use mnemonics that will help in the long run. Thank you very much.